Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us this evening for the Medium Photo Black Scholarship Review information session. Just wanted to go over a few things with you all tonight to help you gain a little more insight into the scholarship and how you can submit your information to be a part of the reviews. So thank you again for joining us. What is Medium Photo? Medium Photo is a nonprofit organization started in 2012 in San Diego, California. And the organization is centered around the educational workshops and an annual festival with artist lectures and a portfolio review. Our mission is to connect us through photography and celebrate its power to transcend boundaries. What is the Black Artist Scholarship? Medium Photo recognized the need for more diversity at our portfolio reviews, and to encourage a more inclusive photographic community, we introduced a Black Artist Scholarship. The scholarship offers a full tuition for 2 artists to attend the in-person 2024 Medium Review and Festival, which takes place in San Diego, California, April 25th through 26th, with the festival events taking place through April 28th. I'm sorry, there's a typo here that meant to say 2024. What does the submission require? First, you must be a Black identifying artist that working in the field of photography. You must submit 10 JPEGs of recent work sized at 2,000 pixels on the longest edge. We're going to need a statement describing the series of work submitted and the motivations for making the work, and an updated CV, website, and your social media handles, and bundle all of that up, put it into a PDF, and send it to info@mediumphoto.org. And then we will have these fine people reviewing your submissions. So myself, Katie Finney, who is a part of the African American Museum of Fine Art in San Diego, Hamida Glasgow for the Center of Fine Art Photography, Charles Geis with Converging Perspectives, Alessandra Montezuma at the San Diego Mesa College professor. She's a professor of museum studies, and Lorena Mastajo, UCSD assistant professor of photography. Do scholarship recipients receive additional support? They absolutely will. The scholarship covers the tuition to the 2024 Medium Review, access to all the lectures and seminars at the 2024 Medium Festival of Photography, a 1-year membership to Medium Photo, free submission to entered our juried exhibition Size Matters, and mentoring supported after the Medium Review. What should I expect if I am selected as a scholarship recipient? I think the slides, this is where the slides are a little messed up here. First of all, the portfolio review will serve artists who have committed themselves to a significant project over a period of time. So we're looking for work that is has been in progress, work that has been thought out, that you're kind of in the progress of making or have already finished. So work that that you've been fully invested in. Curators that are looking to exhibit new work, publishers seeking new content, commercial galleries who come to the reviews to discover new talent. How long do the reviews last? They'll last around 20 minutes for about 2 days. And you'll see around 25 reviewers. And there's around 60 to 65 photographers that are invited to the review sessions. Why should you bother to go to a review? Well, the reviews offer a lot of great feedback on your work. So you're getting feedback from key decision makers in the photo field, right? In museums, galleries, editors. They're going to be able to give you firsthand feedback on your work. Exposure to influential professionals, all of those folks I just mentioned. They're, also curators that are looking and editors that are looking for new talent. They're looking to see the work that you're making, to see if it fits in with work that they are creating in their spaces for that year or the years coming up. You're also going to be able to make new connections. I find the reviews to be really enriching to the relationships that I've built with other photographers, as well as those same key decision-making folks. And you'll be able to expand your community of peers. So, again, this sort of space that that we're creating with these reviews allows you to form a community, which, we don't really get very often. We're so used to working in our own spaces by ourselves. This is a way to be able to network and talk with and see what other photographers are doing. And it also helps you to gain some new perspective of your work and the projects that you're currently working on, that feedback that you're getting. I oftentimes find that it allows me to think about the work that I'm doing in different ways that I hadn't seen before or thought of. And it really does help or has helped me anyway, be able to think about my work differently and approach it differently, and maybe even, add on to it or create some new things around it that, have come out of the feedback that in the conversations that I've had at these spaces. To wrap things up, I would say that the letters that we have received and the sort of opportunities that photographers have gotten from these reviews have been incredible. They've, sorry, there's a few extra slides in here. The exhibitions and the shows and the editorial opportunities that have come out of these reviews are always really pretty amazing and remarkable. I know for myself, it has been really helpful in my career, and I've seen how it has helped other photographers in their career. So I encourage you to apply. I think it's a wonderful opportunity to get your work out there and be seen. So I'm going to leave this open now for any questions that you might have. I know I kind of covered that really quickly. Are there any questions?
I have a couple.
Yes, ma'am.
One of them, just going back to the submission requirements. When you're doing the images, and this is just one of those things because I do some of the PPA competitions where they want to see a matte and a stroke and all that stuff. Do I need to worry about that, or do I just send the image? Or just show the image?
For the actual submission or for
Yes.
your, okay.
Well, actually for both. I mean, because I have no experience with this.
Right. Okay, so for your submissions, you can just send your photos. They don't have to be matted, just JPEGs. The JPEGs that are the 2000 pixels, that's all that we need. They don't have to be anything special. You don't have to have a border on them or anything like that. For your portfolio, I would say to think about how you want the work to be seen. Chronologically, like the way that you organize the work in your portfolio, think about the order that they're going to be seen in. Think about the if you do want them to be seen in sort of a more traditional way with matting, you might want to mat them. If not, then it's totally fine to show loose prints. It's also maybe a good idea if you are still thinking about how you want to, show this work in the future, that you express this to your reviewers, but make it like, I would say to try to present the work in a way that you would want it to be seen as much as possible. That's going to give your reviewers a sense of how they can show the work. If it's an exhibition, let's say, and you want the work to be really big, then bring in smaller prints, but maybe also bring in something that's a little bit larger so you can give them a sense of scale. If you think that you want to have them traditionally framed or matted, then try to put maybe one or two in a mat so it can kind of give them the idea of where you're going with this. And that would be my recommendation on it, is really think about the portfolio review as an opportunity to show the work as complete as possible. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, that's really helpful because I've never done one of these before. And so your question about why do this it is a good one that I really needed to hear. And I guess my one other question that I had is, is there a particular genre or type of work that the reviewers are looking for? What I specialize in and what I will probably submit is going to be florals.
Okay.
So, I don't know if that's going to resonate.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that your work is your work, right?
Yeah.
So you can only show your work. And so if you're
Yeah.
working with florals, then by all means absolutely show your florals. um you know One of the things that I like to do, just as a general rule for attending portfolio reviews, is to look at the list of reviewers and
Hmm.
see where they're working. So
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So like you can kind of
Yeah.
get a sense for who's going to be there, the type of work that they've looked for or worked with in the past, the type of artists that they've worked with in the past.
Right.
And you can kind of gauge who you want to review with, right? So like you may not want to review with somebody who is just looking for portraits if you're not doing portraits. Um,
Right.
yeah, and if you want like opportunities in editorial, then maybe looking for a nonprofit um photo gallery is not necessarily going to be on your radar. So you want to make smart decisions about who you're going to see, and make sure that that fits in with your goals. So you know I think it's really important to take a step back and really
Hmm.
ask yourself these questions as you're putting your portfolio together of what do you want to get out of this review? Um,
Right.
what are your goals for this? Do you want an exhibition? Do you want to sell the work? Do you want to just make contacts and start to build relationships? Do you see the work in an editorial space? So like what goals do you have for the work that you're doing? Because when you have that in mind, then you're going to be able to choose your reviewers wisely, right? You're going to be able to decide,
Yeah.
I want to see this person, but this person not so much. So you're going into this with just as much of a what can I gain out of this as the reviewers are. They are there
Right.
to meet you, to see, how can I get, these slots filled for these exhibitions that I have coming up over the next couple of years. Does this person
Okay.
fit into this, right? Like I have an exhibition of X, Y, and Z, and I think that these floral pieces would be a beautiful complement to this, or I want to give this person a solo. So they're already coming into it with their goals and their expectations for what they want to get out of these reviews, and you need to go into that with the same sort of mindset. I feel like sometimes when you're not you, but the royal you, when photographers that are new come into reviews, they don't think about what they want out of it. And it's almost that they are there to just gain the feedback from their work, which is fine. But I think there's a better way to use reviews, and that is to really go into it with a goal-oriented mindset, right? For what you want to get out of it.
Okay, so now I don't want to hog up all the questions.
No
So
worries.
Denali has questions.
Plenty of time.
But you triggered with that great answer. One more question.
Yeah.
So I saw on one of the charts, it talked about 25 reviewers over a couple of days. Now, do we meet with all 25? Do we know who they are so that we can understand which ones are going to be the best fit so that we can have goals that match up, to what we just talked about?
Right.
Okay.
Yes. So there's going to be a list of reviewers that come out, and we're going to make sure that you have access to that list and you're able to go down the list and choose the reviewers that you want. And normally what happens is we really try to pair you up with all of the reviewers that you ask for. Sometimes there are spaces left over where we're able to give you some extra reviews. Sometimes you won't get your top reviews if everybody is clamoring for this one person, right? So but that so rarely happens. Usually you're going to get everybody that you ask for on those 2 days. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Does that answer?
That helped a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, it helped tremendously because I've never done this before.
Right. Yes.
So
right.
I'm learning.
Right.
We're trying.
So what happens, and one of the slides that kind of went missing, is what you're going to expect is what you can expect to happen at these sessions is that you go in with your portfolio and you sit down and you introduce yourself, and the reviewer will go through your work with you. You have a very limited amount of time to go through this, so you want to make sure that you have your elevator speech down quite well, right? So it's very short. It feels way faster than it is. But you're gonna go through your work. So you want to make sure that you aren't talking or lingering too long on a particular image if you want to get through your whole thing. So you're going to have to maybe practice, like going through your portfolio, sit with a friend, go through it, talk about your images. And then, what I like to do personally is then just ask very bluntly, like, what my request is, what my goal is for this meeting. What I'm trying to do with this work is to show it. I would love to get this work into some exhibitions. Like what do you think, or could you give me some advice around how to approach that? So that's kind of a way that you can do something like that. And for an ask. Yeah. And it's a very fast-paced kind of environment. When you're done with your reviews, there's a break. You get to linger and mingle with other photographers, and then you go back into reviews. So it's a lot of energy, but it's a lot of fun. And after your first one, your nerves settle down and you start to just kind of get into the pace of things. So yeah, it's actually it's a phenomenal and fun experience.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much
so
for that.
much.
Yes, of course, Cheryl. Denali.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi. So it sounds like thank you, Cheryl, for just leading us with those questions, and thank you so much, Alanna, for guiding us through these answers. Certainly what I'm gauging is that a lot of it is self-directed for the artist. It's what you make of the opportunity. And so I'm curious when you spoke to the body of the work, the body of work that's required 10 images, and perhaps the suggestion was a series, a part of a series. I'm curious as to whether or not that series has to be specific and time bound, or is it something that could be these images are in conversation with each other in some way, shape, or form because of how they were created and the ethos through which they were created. And secondly, I'm curious about what does the mentorship look like?
Mhm. Um, so your first question, if I am understanding it correctly, I just want to make sure I understand. You're asking about maybe like multiple bodies of work, but they are somewhat connected. Is that what I'm
Right.
hearing? And if
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
okay.
In lieu of 10 images from one series, perhaps in an attempt to show range and also an expansion of on perspective.
Right. So yeah, I think that's fine. I don't think that that's a problem, and no one is going to turn you away if it's not like one body of work. I think especially if you have several bodies of work that are sort of intertwined and connected, I think that that's absolutely fine to show. I think what we're looking for is that you have
Is
work
it an aesthetic?
that you've thought it through and that you're invested in, and it's not just one-offs. I think we're trying to
Gotcha.
discourage people from applying that have like a couple images of this and a couple of images of that. We're looking for photographers who have a practice and they are
Mhm.
invested in investigating something, right? So if you have, let's say, 3 bodies of work that you started, but you're not finished with them yet, but they're tied together somehow, or they're connected, or maybe even if they're not, I think that that's fine. I think that that's
Okay,
absolutely fine. And
thank
as
you.
far as the mentorship goes, give me just a second. I want to pull up something really quickly. In the past, and I can get back to you on this because I'm honestly not 100% sure what the mentorship for 2024 is going to look like. In the past, I know that they've paired photographers with other photographers that can, act as a mentor. I'm not exactly sure the length of time on that. So I want to
Okay.
see if I can find a little bit of information on that for you. And what I'll do, Denali, is I will, for both of you guys, for you too, Cheryl, I will email you information specific for the mentorship.
Okay.
I
That
just
would be fantastic.
Yeah, I don't want to give you wrong information, and I'm looking on the website right now and I don't see anything specific about it. So I just want to check in and make sure that I'm giving you correct information on that. I know that there was a specific length of time on the mentorship in the past, but I don't know about it now. So I am making a note to email you both and to actually put it up on the website so that other people can find it too. Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. I don't have that information.
Worries. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Um, were there any other questions? I know this was kind of a fast zoom through.
Zooming on Zoom.
Zooming on Zoom.
Indeed.
No, I think to echo Cheryl's sentiment, the immediate thought is really how ready am I for such a review? Am I good enough for such a review? And unfortunately, these are questions that as Black artists we often ask ourselves because we're often excluded from certain spaces.
Yeah.
And so when there is a kind of culture that's already embedded and a way of doing things, coming in essentially as an outsider with your own way of doing things, your own practice, which may be perceived as crude or unrefined. These are the thoughts that come up for me as I think about going through such a review. But I lean back on this, and hopefully this helps you too, Cheryl. The thing I lean back on is that there is always an intention behind the work that is clear and perhaps more sharp and crisp than the image itself. And the thing is that I just trust on that will come through, and that whoever is reviewing it is adept enough and has the range to be able to see that and recognize that, and hopefully support that.
Absolutely. And I fully understand what you're saying and have the same concerns going into spaces myself. I really think that in this specific instance that it's really great to look at that list of reviewers and do your research on them. Like, take the time to look at their name, go to, their organization, see the kind of work that they have shown in the past, look at their Instagram, see the kind of work that they are interested in, like really try to pair yourself up with people who are going to understand your work and who are going to help you be able to move forward in the directions that you want to move in. There's no sense in wasting time with a reviewer that is not going to meet you where you're at, right? And you can easily find out by seeing the kind of work that they're used to showing. I think that that's a great way to start that. Secondly, don't sell your work short. This is your opportunity to shine and to share. And I think really, like, when we're doing art, it really is about starting a conversation, right? So it's not always going to be with people that automatically get it. In a way, it's kind of great to be able to have a conversation with somebody that you can spark something in. So just keep that in mind as well. It is a safe place. I have found that all the reviewers that we bring into the Medium reviews are incredibly respectful and, for lack of a better term, they're in the know, like they understand. They understand that there needs to be more diversity. They're looking for the same things that we're looking for. So yeah, I think that if you're questioning whether your work is good enough or it's going to land properly, I would say that, I'm not familiar with your work, but I know just by speaking with you and the little bit of interactions that we've had, that you can absolutely defend your work. And this is the opportunity to do that, to show your work and to talk about it and to defend the creative decisions that you've made. And you're going to find your audience, and you're going to find your champions, and you're going to find the people that want to help you move your career in the direction that you want it to go in. But looking at that list and really doing the homework and researching the reviewers is going to be it's really going to be your key.
Thank you for that.
Yes. Any other questions?
No, I just think Denali's questions were really, really good and helpful, those answers. And because we all sadly go through am I really good enough? Is this really, important and valuable in the world? And
it is our yes.
I know. But yeah. We just, we have that struggle.
Absolutely. And that's part of being an artist, right? Like, I don't think that struggle ever goes away. And I don't think the doubt that creeps in ever really fully goes away. Not if you're really doing the work, it's always, we're always slightly on the edge, or at least, we should be. If we're keeping it safe and we're keeping it easy for people to digest, then what are we doing? Wall art, maybe that's fine. No judgment there. But like, if you have something to say, then you need to say it. And you need to be able to speak about that work and own it, right? Like, that's our job. And I think that, I am behind this kind of stuff, like these scholarships, because I really believe that we need the opportunity to have a seat at the table. We need the opportunities. We need to take the opportunities to grab the microphone and to say what it is that needs to be said. And so I'm really hoping that with these types of things that I am involved in, like the scholarship, that it's like opening a little crack in the door to let as many of our voices in to be heard, because we need it. We need it. So this is a great opportunity to grab the microphone and say what you need to say. So yes, your work is worthy. It's very worthy and necessary.
Thank you so much, Alanna.
Thank you.
And
Yes,
good
of
to meet
course.
you, Janelle.
Likewise, Cheryl.